It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
SKOR North Twins Show, extra innings. Declan Goff here. What's going on? A little feedback Friday for you on the SKOR North Twins Show. We had a great surplus of subscribers on Thursday. Thank you. Even though the Twins have been up and down, obviously, and more down than up to start the 2025 season, you guys have still loved and supported this show, so thank you. Thank you very much for those who have subscribed and given us a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. We appreciate that. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button and the subscribe button here on this YouTube channel to continue to spread the word and be informed on everything Twins related, whether it's with the big club, whether it's with prospect news, which we're about to get into here. Plenty of great stuff to discuss on the SKOR North Twins Show today. Also, because it's a Feedback Friday, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the YouTube comment section. I will read them throughout the episode as I get through some of the notes here for today's show. So if you have any questions, hit me up in the YouTube comment section. I will do my best to answer them. We'll try to mix in more of these feedback episodes. I'll probably do more of them from the ballpark at Target Field, but I'll still mix them in from the home studio here. As there's boxes. I'm in the process of moving. I just closed on a house. We're running there after this. So this is what my background is. It's not Target Field, that's for sure. But breaking news, I guess, delayed breaking news. Luke Keaschall being called up by the Twins. Aaron Gleeman, The Athletic, reported that yesterday. Checked in with the source myself, confirming all the reports out there that he was coming up to the Twins. Rewinding a little bit to Wednesday on the series finale, I asked around people in the Twins organization, even outside it, on the prospect of, pun intended, Luke Keaschall coming up to the Twins with the injuries to Matt Wallner, the uncertainty at the time of Willie Castro and Carlos Correa, and was told, actually, you know what, that's not as of now in the cards. Instead, you'll probably see more of a waiver claim or a trade, and we saw that with Jonah Bride. They acquired him from the Marlins, but Luke Keaschall, the Twins' third-ranked prospect in their system, but still one of the 50 to 60, depending how you look at it, best prospects in all of baseball. He'll be making his Twins debut on Friday against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. Keaschall will bat 8th. He'll be at designated hitter, too, so he'll DH for the Twins against Atlanta. So that's exciting. Luke Keaschall, who has had very impressive numbers in the minor leagues, a guy they drafted out of college in the second round a few drafts ago. In 147 minor league games, Keaschall has an OPS of 885 and on-base percentage of 415. This season with the Saints, slashing 261, 379, 348. You know, small sample size, but still getting on base at a very high and impressive clip in his minor league career. Keaschall, who was their minor league player of the year last year, he underwent Tommy John surgery. They shut him down, I think, like a week or two before the minor league season ended in 2024. Now, Tommy John surgery for a position player is not as invasive or as scary or takes longer to rehab as like a pitcher has to go through. So Keaschall was still able to be ready for the St. Paul Saints. And when he's been playing the field in St. Paul, he's been kind of limited. They've just been letting him play about 4 or 5 innings at a time. I believe the last start out was the first time he may have gotten the full run in the 9 innings, but when he's been DHing in St. Paul, he does play the full 9. So he'll likely get 9 innings on Friday night against the Atlanta Braves. But Luke Keaschall, the first big prospect name that we've kind of heard about here on whether you're a Twins fan looking at all the prospect lists, Keaschall now coming up to the Twins to help things out because of the injuries to Matt Wallner and Willie Castro, who sounds like he's not going to go on the injured list for this Atlanta series. Very curious to see how severe, what the severity of the oblique strain that he was removed from the game on Wednesday was all about. But at least we do know that Luke Keaschall will be in the lineup for the debut on Matt Wallner. So Keaschall taking the spot. Well, hold on. Let me make sure I have this right here before I get too far ahead of myself. Obviously, Matt Wallner went on the injured list. We know that. But Keaschall is actually taking the spot of Mickey Gasper. So Mickey Gasper is being sent to St. Paul. Gasper played in 10 games with the Twins this year, but Jonah Bride took the spot of Matt Wallner. So bear with me here as I try to get all my ducks in a row, playing solo. But for Keaschall to go on the 40-man roster, the Twins had to remove Matt Canarino, their pitching prospect, who unfortunately just hasn't been able to stay healthy. So Keaschall wasn't on the 40-man. That's how he gets on the 40-man. And then to get on the 26 active-man roster, if you're still with me here, the Twins have sent Mickey Gasper to AAA. So that's how Keaschall is here. Then Jonah Bride, who was acquired from the Marlins for cash considerations, he took Matt Wallner's spot on the lineup. Wallner has a hamstring issue, which I feel like everyone on the Twins has hamstring issues, right? Royce Lewis is in the middle of trying to see how far he can go. He's going to start doing some more running for the Twins this weekend while the Twins are away in Atlanta to see the severity of where that hamstring is at. But Pablo Lopez dealing with the hamstring. I'll have more on him in just a sec. But Matt Wallner's hamstring is definitely going to be lengthier than just your 10-day IL stint. This is not going to be something that he comes back when he's eligible to come off the injured list where he was placed on yesterday. This is actually going to be a lengthy injury for Matt. I don't know the severity of, like, is it the Royce Lewis timeline where, I mean, he's in a significant spot where he might not see action for months. I don't think it's that severe, but the Matt Wallner hamstring issue is definitely going to be a thing to monitor and watch. He was in pretty much the same spot on Wednesday as he was on Tuesday and was told it's probably going to be a little bit longer for Matt Wallner. So life without Matt Wallner for probably the next few weeks for Twins fans. So brace yourself for that. On the YouTube side, Blue Creed 842 says, how serious is the Correa injury? So yeah, Correa was dealing with a wrist problem, which is something he's kind of dealt with off and on for a while. He's in the lineup playing shortstop for the Twins on Friday against the Braves. So I assume he's okay. He's once again, let's see here, he is batting fifth for the Twins on Friday against Atlanta. So that wrist, that probably explains why he's topping balls and not being able to make as hard contact. So Correa is back in the starting lineup. He was a defensive replacement for the series finale, so I assume he's okay, but Twins need to get him going, obviously, ASAP. He's just hitting 164 and OPS of 473 on the year, but he's in the lineup playing short. Luke Keaschall at DH batting eighth for his Major League debut, which is obviously very exciting. Willie Castro not in the starting lineup on Friday. I guess theoretically available off the bench, but I'm guessing they don't want to use him off the bench. Brooks Lee will start at third base for the Twins, and then they have an outfield of Buxton, Larnach, and Kersey. Larnach in left, Kersey in right, Buxton obviously in center. So, yeah, no Matt Wallner. He's on the injured list. Probably won't be expecting Matt Wallner back anytime soon, unfortunately, or at least a lengthier stint than just the 10-day IL stint. Pablo Lopez, who I would just tease about, he's going to make a rehab start for the St. Paul Saints. Actually, it's good timing here. Hulker says, are you thinking Pablo's going to be back in time for his next start? I heard he's making a rehab start already, so that seems like good news. Yes. So Pablo will make a start in Iowa for the Saints on Saturday, and then he'll be able to be activated off the injured list shortly after that, and then should be able to make his next start in line. But that tries to answer the question of whose spot does he take. David Festa has been great. I mean, you could send back down Festa, but he hasn't allowed an earned run for you. I mean, this comes back to the same question that we've been having since spring training. You know, Chris Paddock's making a start on Friday night. He's 0-2. He's coming off the best start of his season, but is he on borrowed time here? I mean, how can you remove a guy that in David Festa who hasn't allowed an earned run in 2 starts? I know he hasn't pitched past the 5th. But, man, if Paddock doesn't have it, do you move him to the bullpen? They're not going to just release him. They're not going to send him to AAA. He's out of options. But, I mean, I wouldn't remove David Festa just because you're paying Chris Paddock. I mean, you need your best players to win. And if that is Chris Paddock, maybe still being able to contribute to this team, but not in the starting rotation, you have to make that decision. But Pablo will make a rehab start with the St. Paul Saints, and then probably be in line when he comes off the injured list to make his next start with the Twins, likely either against the White Sox to wrap things up or against the Angels when the Twins return home. They're off again on Monday after being here being in Atlanta, for 3 days. So they have another off day on Monday after having an off day on Thursday. Also, I would expect Brock Stewart to probably join the Twins in Atlanta at some point this weekend. Probably maybe more tomorrow than Sunday. He was pitching in Fort Myers, made back-to-back appearances, topped out at about 96.7 in that second appearance on Tuesday. I mean, if he was ready in Fort Myers and playing for the Miracle in Florida, Twins in Atlanta, logistics, pretty easy swap to get up there. So I would envision Brock Stewart also probably being activated from the injured list, coming onto the 26-man roster at some point during this series in Atlanta. That would be probably Cody Funderburk going down, I would guess. I don't know. He's probably the easiest one to pick if you're just looking at the active pitchers. But Brock Stewart probably coming back to the Twins this weekend against Atlanta. That's good news for the bullpen. They need it. I know Griffin Jax has struggled. Some bad luck involved in terms of just really hard hit rate and BABIP. He's getting BABIP to death. Batting average on balls and play is incredibly high. His strikeout percentage is still really good, but they could use Brock Stewart. Obviously, they've taxed their bullpen pretty well. It's supposed to be one of the deepest and best bullpens in baseball. But if Brock Stewart comes back to the Twins, that'll make life a little bit easier. Again, probably maybe Cody Funderburk going down in that case for the active roster spot. We'll wait and see what happens after Friday. But yeah, I would imagine Brock Stewart joining the Twins at some point in Atlanta. So just to recap, Luke Keaschall making his Major League debut on Friday at DH. Jonah Bride is not in, not in the lineup on Friday, but available on the bench for the Twins. Matt Wallner on the injured list and probably expect a lengthier stay than the 10-day IL stint. Mickey Gasper, who made the Twins opening day roster, who was a great spring training story, he has been optioned off the 26-man roster for Matt Canarito's spot. And Willie Castro not going on the injured list for now, but still maybe not in a great spot with that oblique strain. So that's kind of your notes section of the Friday episode. Hit that like button and subscribe button if this is stuff you enjoy and stuff you'd like to appreciate more. Appreciate your guys' support. Hit the like button and subscribe button to continue to spread the word about the SKOR North Twins Show. Some other feedback questions here that I got on Twitter, and I'll also take any questions too that come in on YouTube over the next probably 5 to 10 minutes here on the SKOR North YouTube channel. So a couple questions. I'll start with this one from a Purple People Eatery on Twitter. He tweets at me at Dex Tweets. You can follow me there as well on Twitter. Which of the upcoming 2 to 3 series is the most important to win? That being the Atlanta, the White Sox, and the Angels series. I mean, you can't lose a series of the White Sox. And the Braves have been the most disappointing team in baseball this year. I mean, they had World Series aspirations. People thought they could be able to dethrone the Dodgers after having some injuries last year. They have gotten off to a horrible start. Now the Twins having won back-to-back games, that's great news. Good things for the Twins. But I would say you can't lose a series to Chicago. Right now, you obviously begin this series against Atlanta as we record this on Friday, 5 games under 500. If you remember the Dex plan, which was 9-6 against the Tigers, Mets, Braves, White Sox, and Angels. Currently, they are 3-3 in the Dex plan, so they need to go, let's see here, my math, 6-3 over the next 9 games to put them back on track to it a bit, put them at least somewhat nearing 500. Being back towards 500, which is great. So if they can do something like that, that would be obviously ideal. The Braves have been bad. The White Sox are the worst team in baseball. Angels got off to actually a really nice start, maybe better than anticipated, but still a significant minus run differential. I would say you can't lose the series of the White Sox. Like, for as much as we're buying, maybe even turning a corner for this Twins team and buying back in, it starts against Atlanta for sure. Win that series. I mean, if you can win all 3 of these series, great. I would just say you can't lose to the White Sox. I don't know if that really answers your question, which one's the most important, but that one has the most stake. Like, if you lose to the White Sox, morale-wise, you're back at square one. Can't have that happen. Another one here. La Bamba on Twitter says, Bamba Soda actually, says, when Pablo is healthy again, do you think they'll eventually move on from Paddock? It just doesn't make sense to rely on him unless you absolutely have to. And that's what they're doing right now. They're relying on him because they absolutely have to. He's being paid. And the Twins obviously had an injury to Pablo Lopez, so they can do that. But yeah, I mean, I keep saying it. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in this episode. Every start that Chris Paddack makes is the most important start in terms of him staying in the Twins rotation. He's made 3 starts this year. His ERA is north of 9. He has to have a good night on Friday. I would envision, though, and not even envision, if Pablo Lopez is healthy, if David Festa is still here, and Zebby Matthews, both Zebby and Festa and Lopez and Simeon and Joe Ryan, all those guys, I think are better options for the Twins in their starting rotation. There might be something for Paddack in the bullpen. I mean, we saw with Louis Varland. He's fine putting things together. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have it on Friday against the Braves, then you have to make a very difficult decision. And I mean, Simeon Woods-Richardson does have options. You could send Sim down, but I mean, Sim hasn't pitched poorly enough where you would send him down. And also that would just confidence-wise, I wouldn't really agree with that. I think that wreck his confidence. So yeah, I mean, after Pablo makes his start, and look, knowing how the Twins and just baseball teams operate, they're not going to make this start. They make this decision immediately after tonight's game. There's days off. There's other games that take place. Unfortunately, there's injuries that happen, so it's not as black and white as simple as if Chris Paddack gets blown up tonight, it's officially over. Might be trending in that direction. But it will be interesting to see who is the odd man out when Pablo comes back. He's their staff ace. David Festa hasn't allowed a run this year. I'm curious to see kind of what happens. A few more here on the YouTube side. Let's go to, is it Ari? Forgive me, Ari, if I'm butchering your name. Do you think Eddie's weird double play came from fear of him messing up his throws? I mean, I don't know if it was like a yips thing with Eddie there at second. You're obviously referencing the Wednesday play where the bases were loaded, tags out the runner, and then kind of gets handcuffs himself and is able to step on the first base bag to get out of the inning ending, or getting out of the inning with a double play. Eddie's worked a ton at second base and has tried to be a lot better at that position. He's probably a better. It's similar to Luke Keaschall, where defensively, I just don't know where you put these guys. And Keaschall is still young enough and raw enough where I'm not giving up on him as a fielder. It's just chess pieces wise and puzzle piece wise, long term. Keaschall's here maybe just for the weekend. He might go back to St. Paul. Live in that reality here for a second. Long term, though, I don't know where Keaschall fits in defensively on the Twins. Julian's been swinging a good bat this year. He's batting leadoff again on Friday. They've liked some of the things he's been able to do, but long term, I think it might be second base. But again, these are awesome problems to have. But Brooks Lee is back at third. What happens when Royce Lewis returns? What happens when Luke Keaschall is still here? Ty France is still raking at the plate. Edward Julian has been your leadoff man. There's not enough, right? There's not enough positions and spots in the batting order to go around. And you play the hot hands, you play the health game. Unfortunately, again, how it works out is injuries usually end up taking care of this. But man, once the Twins get healthy, what happens? It's a fascinating thing to figure out because there's not enough positions and people in the batting order to make that happen. But yeah, I'm curious to see kind of what happens with it. Let's see here. From Hulker, he says, are guys in the clubhouse panicking, or do you feel like they're in a decent spot and just haven't been playing as well as they're capable of? Is there any level of finger pointing happening? I would say I think the general vibe I've gotten from players in the clubhouse is they are not panicking. They feel that they're probably in more of an overreactionary start in terms of not letting, whether it's people like me in the media, the fan base, etc., they're not letting that noise, at least yet, really drift into their thoughts and causing them to play more poorly. I feel like they've done a good job so far blocking out that noise. But man, if they had gotten swept by the Mets, I mean, Monday was bleak. Monday was another just kind of no-show by the Twins, and Carlos Correa was kind of shrugging shoulders, trying to figure out, how do I answer these questions and how do I get this team out of this funk? He's aware of that too. I haven't gotten the sense that they're completely panicking or doing any type of finger pointing yet. Again, they're 7-13 or 7-12 at the time of this recording. So They were supposed to get off to a better start, not get off to another slow start. They have to dig themselves out. But, I mean, dude, winning cures all. And this time last year, the Twins were 7-13, and then they went on a run, collapsed again in August. But, no, I haven't gotten the sense that there's finger pointing going around and that it got like as bad as it did towards the end of 2024. I don't think that's the case. I think that's going to do it here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday. Again, hit that like button and subscribe button. Again, go check out 2 of our episodes. We had a State of the Twins on Monday last week. We had a recent episode yesterday trying to figure out, is this turnaround after winning back-to-back games legitimate? Should the Twins be leaning in more to their defense and base running? Trevor Plouffe was on vacay with the fam, enjoying some great times with the wife and kids. He'll be back with us on Tuesday, though, so you can check out a Trevor Plouffe Tuesday here on this YouTube channel and podcast feed. But I'll try to get in an extra innings episode, likely on Sunday. Hashtag he has risen for a post-series show against Atlanta. But until then, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the SKOR North Twins Show episodes. Enjoy whatever the heck you're doing. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. Oh, by the way, a shout out to Underdog 2, promo code SKOR, SKOR. That gets you a deposit match. And Element, good old Element Hotel. You can go right now to skornorth.com/element to book your next stay. You can save 15% off for those who are coming in town for the draft party. A little bonus there as well. But if you're a Twins fan or you're a fan coming to the Twins from out of state, and you always want to see Target Field, stay at Element Hotel. It's literally steps away. You can see the ballpark from its rooftop. You can. If you have a good enough arm, might be able to get up to the patio, for goodness sake. So skornorth.com/element to book your next stay at the Element Hotel. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening and watching and supporting the SKOR North Twins Show. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be talking at you later this weekend.